Omni Sport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCallum.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present for your entertainment pleasure, all the way from London. His name is Mattman. I had to do this. I grew up as a kid with Mattman. I'm speaking to Matt. He lives in London. His name is SA Rugby Oak. Am I right, Matt?
Yeah,
London,
absolutely. Yeah.
Springbok. What are you doing over there, my friend?
Well, listen, I've been over here for 17 years. Believe it or not, I got a scholarship to come over during my school days, and unfortunately never left. But completely obsessed with Springbok rugby. Hence starting on my SA Rugby Oak fan page through kind of Instagram, and after that our Rugby Oaks channel on YouTube. And I'm full South African expat. There's quite a few of us are in London, but yeah, just here enjoyed the game on Saturday night as well, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what exactly does SA Rugby Oak? What do you want to do with it? I mean, what is your passion behind it? Obviously, it's a passion project, but it's become huge. I mean, you've got like 27,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah, we're approaching that kind of 25,000 mark. It was something actually started just after COVID. It was before the first game I took my oldest son to, and my wife and my then 18-year-old son went up to Scotland, to Murrayfield, to watch South Africa play. And it was the first time we could watch it since kind of COVID, and we'd all been trapped inside and sat at home. I'd never really used social media before or anything like that. My wife just said, "Listen, you're obsessed with rugby. It's all you can ever talk about. Put it into social media." So I can thank her for that, and I had to learn it as it goes. But my whole kind of mantra is like, just for the love of the game, for the love of South African rugby. There's so many like trolls out there. There's so many people with negative that want to kind of attack or fight or cause cuck on online. But that's not what my page is about. My page is about the joy of South African rugby and just bringing it back to loving the players, loving the gears, and just promoting South Africa around the world.
Yeah, it's impossibly funny to watch. It's hilarious, and it's poignant, and both. It's really good to watch. Tell me, you didn't marry an English woman, did you?
No, like
Good.
lady as well.
I was getting a bit worried with that, but the mixed marriages act hasn't finished in South Africa yet. So we don't let South Africans marry English women because it just seems to produce little English fans.
I've got 2 English-born South African sons, so
one
day in the green and gold, who knows.
I was going to ask you about the game and all the people at the game on Saturday night. Most of Saturday, I couldn't believe the amount of people were cheering whenever I heard when Peter Steff did the charge down and the try went in. There was a massive roar. I mean, how many green jerseys were in Twickenham or Allianz Stadium, whatever it's called now?
It's called Allianz now, unfortunately. I think it's the curse. They haven't won since the change of the name. Or that might just be their terrible kind of coaching at the moment. But South Africa always has this massive turnout for Twickenham. It's basically a home event for us. We've seen it time and time again with, when we played the All Blacks, where basically, a away fixture for both teams, 80% of South African. We played Wales in the summer there. I was lucky enough to be there as well. Again, we chucked about 40,000 South Africans in there. I reckon there was about 25,000 South Africans at Twickenham.
Good Lord.
But just because we all wear our green and gold, we all have our flags, we all go crazy. The normal crowd at Twickenham, the English crowd, are very much your corduroy trousers and your tweed jacket, and they don't like to make too much of a fuss. And they might have 1 or 2 Guinnesses, but don't go crazy. And then they'll swing low, till the cows come home. But the chaos that the South African fans bring, it just drowns out. Even though it's kind of 3-to-1 ratio, it drowns out what the English could do by a million miles. And what they don't tell you when you're watching on TV is they actually play swing low through the tannoy. So it's not actually the crowd singing it. So hearing the South Africans go nuts is fully us, and we were all over it.
I love the stadium experience with the lighting, and particularly, I don't know if you watched the All Black France.
Yeah. Oh, I've just lost your audio.
Let's see. We're still having a few problems.
Oh,
so what I'm going to be talking about, cool stuff. And what we're going to be talking about is I would talk about the stadium experience at Twickenham. I saw at the start of France the way the lighting was used between the haka and the French,
It was
and they used a lot
incredible.
of good lighting. They used a lot of good lighting at Twickenham. I mean, that's a different stadium experience. It was obviously worth what 300 quid a ticket or something ridiculous.
Well, you get a range at Twickenham. The cheapest tickets I get in the ballot will be like 70 quid, which is still a huge amount of money. And then it goes up to thousands of pounds worth of hospitality, a couple of grand tickets. Um,
Yeah.
but the match day experience, I will say, at Twickenham is one of the best that you could go to if you're a traveling fan. Get down there, because the amount they put into the entertainment value to try and encourage more fans to watch it. Because in South Africa it's different. You'll sell out. The Springboks play, you're going to basically sold out the game already. It's just a non-issue. With England rugby, it's the third or fourth favorite sport in the country. You can't
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you're going to sell out. They've got to really bring the energy and the vibe through. I think it was like a big laser show before the game. I'm not sure if that was televised. That was
Oh, we can
awesome.
see that.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, they always have the flames, and they do a really good kind of spectacle at Twickenham, and that's something that maybe South Africa takes for granted to a certain extent, that our spectacles are the match, because we're going to sell out anyway. But certainly, as you said, in Stade de France, that lighting of the haka and the French line was haunting, wasn't it?
It was extraordinary, and also it almost like highlighted and enhanced the challenge, and it didn't. It drew a line, almost like a border between the two. That this nonsense about walking up to the haka, I mean, it's just fake masculine energy. As Flip Van Maver, who's on this show every now and then, the former Springbok lock, says, it's just plastic energy. You don't celebrate challenging the haka. You don't celebrate getting a 50-22 like Lowe did for Ireland the other day. You celebrate winning. And unfortunately, England haven't been winning, but I was watching. They're not a bad side. They're a good team. They just can't finish.
I think England, look, I'm not an expert in England rugby, but they're about 5% away from being a great team, in my estimation. They've got the youngsters, and they've got the quality that, with the right coaching, with the right strategy, you could really make something of that. Look, they've played the All Blacks twice in New Zealand. They played the All Blacks, Australia, and South Africa. Really, they should have beaten Australia. Other than that, it's been pretty much what we expected, or certainly what I expected of the year for them. The problem I have is they're not playing positive rugby. You've got a guy like Marcus Smith who is probably the form 10 in the world at the moment. The guy's carrying England. I mean, his chiropractor must have insane builds for the amount of weight he's carrying that team on. But if you see their tries, they scored against us, that one straight off the bat on Saturday night. The way he carves up the team, it's when those moments of magic click in, the team all of a sudden remembers that they can play this attacking rugby, and they score tries. And then when they are starting to kind of just sort of kick off, build, set phase, kind of squeeze and push forward, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't have the patience. They seem to get to three phases and kick the ball, very much like Rusty used to do it before 2019. And he used to say, it's because my team's not good enough. We're not, we'll get rid of the ball and play the percentage. I don't think England are that bad. I think they just, the strategy is wrong. I think the selection's wrong. They're playing some old guys. Jamie George is the captain. You made the rod for your back there by naming a 33-year-old who's not going to be at the next World Cup, who's not at the top of his game. Your captain, who's probably going to have to play 60 minutes a game. When you've got a guy like Theo Down from Saracens, who's unbelievable, but needs 20 caps to get to world-class level, of proper play. So, it's the pressure of winning is now overtaking the ability to actually train your team and play. Now they're going to play Eddie Jones on Sunday, and they've got to play a first team, because if they don't win that, also loses his job. Whereas this is a game they should have played their thirds, right?
Yeah, well, they should have done. I mean, everyone, no one thought Australia would be like this. No one thought Australia would come and push England the way they did, and then absolutely wallop the Welsh. And now they've got a big test up against Scotland this weekend. But I think Australia have been great. I just think that Joe Schmidt, he talks about now we've learned how to play to our limitations and back to basics. And then they've got these kids who are coming through who are just Skelton is just unbelievable at the moment. And then he played a 34-year-old Nick White. But there's that. But for me, I think this whole entire autumn series has been perhaps some of the best autumn series rugby that I've seen in 10, 15 years, easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Aussies are a great example of maybe what England need to tap into of going. The Aussies have always got these unbelievable athletes, right? You can say what you want about an Australian team, but they are pure athletes. And Joe Smith's given them the confidence to go, you know what, chuck the ball around, play to your DNA. We're aware of what we can't do, and you know what, it doesn't hurt that they had to play against 6 matches against the other best teams in the world over the Rugby Championship. So they've got a little bit better over that experience. But you know, the Aussie team's just coming into confidence, and an Australian, any sports, an Australian confidence. I backed them to beat Scotland this weekend just because when an Australian believes they can win, the Australian wins. It's almost, their form or their ability is I don't think relevant. Those Aussies are going to go to Scotland, and Scotland are a nice team. They're an okay team, but they're never going to kick on. If you look at South Africa, I mean, we essentially put 20 points on the best team Scotland have ever had. Haven't let them score a try in 2 matches against the best Scotland team that's ever existed. They're never going to get to that level. But I think the Aussies, playing with that flair, I mean, to score however many tries with a red card against Wales at the Principality. I know Wales are not the team they once were, but the Principality is a tough place to go. With that roof over, the Welsh allowed. It's I'm all in for the Aussies. A good Aussie team is great for South Africa. It's better for the Rugby Championship. The RGs are playing fantastic rugby. Unlucky to not come away with that win against Ireland, but I think the South is on the rise once again, and maybe when we look back in time and we'll all go, that blip where the North took over coincided with the years of COVID when we couldn't play rugby, but the North did play rugby, and maybe that will just be the reason.
Yeah, one of the phrases I hate most in rugby, and Steve Borthwick keeps using this a lot, is our team's in development. It's an excuse, basically. He said, give us another couple of weeks, give us some more time. And Rassie Erasmus has never made any secret of the fact that his team is in development. Every good team should be in development all the time. You should be in transition all the time. Every game is a transition. Every moment, every training session is for you as a human being, you as a player. So we're a developing team. If you're a developing team, learn how to play in the last 20 minutes to develop that side of you. I was looking at, since this is England's record, in 2008 was the last time they lost at home to the Southern Hemisphere Big Three on consecutive weekends. The aggregate losing margin then was minus 76. They got absolutely pumped. I mean, this month is only minus 16. They've had 3 great games of rugby, but 7 defeats, 11 games, 4 wins against the mighty Italy, the mighty Wales, Ireland by 1 point, and then the poor Japanese. So the record against the top 4 teams in the 20 years since being crowned 2003 world champions has been 84 testing against the sides and ranked in the top 4. They've won 23 with 2 draws and lost the rest. That's pathetic. That's rubbish. I mean, they shouldn't. That's an embarrassment, and it speaks to the RFU that doesn't quite know where it wants to take this team, which is a huge pity because they got resources behind them. Yeah, Steve Borthwick, they just seem to be playing in his image almost, like the sort of, he was always falling short. He looked like he had a bloody broken nose all the time. He was bamboozled. And that's why England are playing rugby at the moment for me.
And he's a very, when people talk about what they love about Steve Borthwick, apart from him being a former player, and that's always something that kind of galvanizes the team, that you kind of trust they're your side, not the board side. But they say he's so analytical, and he studies everything, and he creates a game plan in that way. And I strongly believe that's what's stifling certainly Marcus Smith on that back line at the moment. Is he's looking too analytical. He's playing moneyball with the stats, getting the players to think about the situation statistically instead of looking and playing what's in front of them. They're not good enough to live off their set pieces and play the statistical game. So it's pointless. But yet they've got these really exciting backline players. Smith, Fairbasu, you've got there's a couple of number 9s. Ben Spencer on his day can play a great game. That could spark a backline who's got a guy like Ollie Lawrence who could be an amazing 12. He's a really solid player. They just are missing. They're missing the secret spice, and the secret spice I think is just allowing the players to have a bit of freedom and play how they want to play.
I agree with you. But enough about the Poms. Let's get on to the Springboks. I'm going to play a bit of word association games with you here. So I'm going to say a player's name, and then you give me the one word that describes him. So I'm going to go Apile Fasi.
Airlines.
Cheslin Colby. This must be easy.
Ah, Steph.
Yeah. Jesse Creel.
Muscles.
And Dalendi.
I was going to say box, but yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get Grant Williams at 9. For me, Grant Williams is our future at 9.
Oh, electric. What a player. Yeah, electric. I think he needs to start every game from now on.
Sia Khaleesi.
Oh, just hero. Absolute hero.
Eben Otzebeth. I mean, what more needs to be said? I think Eben Otzebeth is actually an adjective, but I think Otzebeth is actually going to be found in the dictionary one day. The Oxford Dictionary is going to be Otzebeth, and then next to it, monster. Scares
Yeah.
the crap into English players.
I think,
then,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, there's been a couple of people that have given him a bit of crap this year for the Ben Smiths of the world about his nomination. But geez, what a year he's had. Etzebeth has been phenomenal. He is the enforcer. He's played pretty much every game, and he plays 80 minutes from time to time as well, which is a rarity in the South African team. And yeah, monster of note.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of people who don't respect the Springboks, there have been 2 pieces recently, one by Stephen Jones from the Sunday Times and another by Oliver Brown, who's the chief sports writer for the Telegraph. And in both of them, they referred to the Springboks as unloved. The respect that's given to them is grudging, even though they're 2 times world champions, number 1 in the world. We've got some of the greatest players in the world at the moment, probably got the greatest team in the world. It's a generational talent of a team. That is not for me, and I know a lot of English people, I know a lot of English journalists. That's not the common theme. Is it just like cheap journalism to write that sort of crap?
There was this narrative, certainly in the North, that after the 2019 World Cup, we were lucky to win, and the 2024 World Cup, we cheated our way to win. And it's really sad. Look, Rassie, we know the situation with the Lions tour and how that didn't help his public image and all that. And I generally think that does kind of make us harder to like. But we've never been the beloved team. South Africa has always been the team that is, I mean, for us looking out, we go, why would you not love this team? You've got a guy like Sia Khaleesi. You've got guys that are coming from all these backgrounds, all these stories that we hold so dear in our South African identity of why this team is just so like tangible and everyone can grab hold of someone in the team and get behind them and back them and fall in love with and support to kind of the end of the world. But the rest of the world don't watch Chasing the Sun, to put it lightly. They don't care about where Bongi Mbonambi came from. They don't care about, all they hear is, South Africa. I still had it in the stadium. A guy stopped me as I was walking up the stairs and he said, oh, South Africa actually playing some rugby today. And I was like, dude, where have you been? South Africa have scored, dozens of tries, electric tries. We've got Cheslin Colby, who is the greatest player in the world. We've got some absolutely incredible players. But there's still this mindset, and it's stuck in 2019 of the Boks just kick the ball away. And there's a funny thing, if you look at the All Blacks kick the ball probably more than the Boks. But what the All Blacks do is they start the game on fire, they score 2 tries, and they end the game by scoring a try. The 50 minutes in between, they kick the ball away. But everyone remembers the beginning and everyone remembers the end. South Africa is slow poison. It's not always gonna be your most exciting game, but that last 20 minutes is where we just kind of flare up, and then everyone goes, "Oh well, you guys have got too many props. You guys are so what? The only reason we can do the bomb squad is because we're good enough athletes. And if anyone else had that, they'd do it too. In fact, everyone does do it now. I mean, you show me a Six Nations team that didn't use a 6-2 split in the last Six Nations, and I'll give you a 10 and up."
Which is about 2,300 rand at the moment.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you totally. I think it was Francois Lowe was saying, don't be jealous of it, just copy it. The French use it. The French use a bomb squad. The Iraqis use a bomb squad. We didn't use, everyone claims we didn't use the bomb squad because the Ox came off with a knee injury. It was a gash on his knee. But there was no bomb squad. It was a 5-3 split. There was a different tactic, 5-4. So, yeah. So we got a very much a different tactic and a different way of playing for each team, for each situation. And that's proper development. That's proper transition. And that's learning. And yet, for some reason, Tony Brown thinks, we didn't attack properly. We didn't attack as a team. A lot of individualistic attacking moments and attacking tries. But he said, in that essence, there's still another level that we need to go to become an attacking team. What would you think would be the proper way? Well, not the proper way, but would be the essence of a South African attack in terms of how it would be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect game, but what would be a perfect move for you, for instance?
Look, I think Tony's hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for what he's trying to do with the Springboks. Whether at the end of it we're going to look back and go, we didn't really want to be the All Blacks, so it didn't work, or he's created something specifically South African in the form of attack. I'm not sure. It's too early to tell. But I like what he's doing. I think he's right. That was not a complete game. It was not the world champions pitching up at an average England and winning by 9 points, being behind at times. I didn't feel uncomfortable during the game, but I certainly thought we could have done better. I think there were individual brilliances that masked over a couple of things. That Grant Williams try for sure was one of them. That was just like unbelievable. But going back to what you asked, which is what is the perfect South African team try? For me, it's heavy forward. Say off the kickoff, heavy forward dominance for the first 3 to 4 phases, then just bash up with 8s and 12s and 13s and pass it to Colby. He'll do the rest. Come on, don't worry too much.
There was a great piece by, I think it was Robert Kitson in The Guardian, and a friend of mine, and he said, Cheslin Colby could sidestep a defender inside a phone booth. He is that good. That step, I mean, I think, I don't know who it was. I think it could be Stewart is still in row Z at the top of the stand and took his, because that was a step for the ages.
It was unbelievable. And the fact that it actually, he caught it and went. He's the only player that has the confidence to go backwards in his stepping movement. He's not trying to go forward, sideways. He's stepped back so that Freddie Stewart, as I say, flew into the advertising board. The poor guy, I thought he had such an average game, but you can't blame him when that happens early on. You kind of, plenty of English players have seen it before, and British and Irish Lions players, and plenty will see it kind of going forward. But this constant drive for the Springboks to get better, and that's why I like Tony Brown saying that. They come out and they say, "Look, Twickenham, England, great, we won, we're unbeaten. What can we do? It's perfect." They're constantly driving to get better. They're constantly developing, just like you said. I mean, this week I'm just looking at the team sheet here. Cameron Honeycomb and who's it? Jean Klein will be the 51st and 52nd player used in the squad this year. I don't think anyone's ever done it. I mean, we used to laugh at Jake White for he capped 30 people over his 4-year, tenure, and we were like, oh, he's giving away caps here. Rusty is determined to make 2 teams that he can play at any time that are going to be the 2 best teams in the world, which might be the secret to why we win World Cup.
Oh, exactly that, because he has a team that's not afraid. And we're gonna start wrapping up in a little bit, not right now. Even Etzebeth, for me, heart and soul of the team. He's up against Cheslin Colby, Peter Steff, and Ceylon Doris, whose new song is "Who the F is Doris." But he's up against them for World Rugby Player of the Year. For me, I don't think we should be giving it to a wing. Cheslin Colby probably he deserves it because he can play everywhere apart from lock and prop. But even Etzebeth is the heart and soul of the Springbok team. And for me, that is the entire reason that he deserves to be the World Rugby Player of the Year.
So I had to think about this when it came out. Firstly, Doris, you're right. Look, he's a hell of a player. He'll probably win it because that's how World Rugby like to just turn a knife into South Africa. And it'll be like, why did you give us 3 nominations and still make us lose? That's even worse. But I'll break down the other 3 for you, in my opinion. Eben Etzebeth, one of the greatest players of all time. The reason I want him to win it is my heart, because I think he should have won World Player of the Year at some time in his career. And I don't know if he'll get those chances again. Is that enough to justify giving it to him this year? He's had a hell of a year. Okay. Has it been his best year in a box shirt? I actually thought last year was better. And I think that semi-final coming off early was probably the nail in the coffin why he didn't get it. Nothing against Ardie Surveyor. fantastic
Mm-hmm.
player. Peter Steph-Toy is the best forward in the world. I think he is the reason why the Springboks can play the defensive line that they do, because he covers 2 or 3 more people than everyone else. And of course, Cheslin Kolbe is the best back in the world. Sorry, Dupont. Cheslin Kolbe is the
Yeah.
best back in the world at the moment
Thank you very much.
by
Mate.
some way. He's put the balls in the scrum, so he can do what Dupont. He throws the line out, so he can do what the forwards do, and he steps everyone to death. Dupont's a fabulous player, don't get me wrong. So I wouldn't begrudge any of them. My worry about Etzebeth is it's like my heart wants him to get it because he should have that to his CV. But I think, in my opinion, Peter Steph-Toy this year has been the best player.
Oh, hello, doggies.
Oh,
It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's
yeah.
probably the English probably sent them along. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just reading. I'm going to read some stats for our record against Wales. Played 42, 134, lost 7, drawn 1. Points for 1,112. Points against 671. Tries scored 130 frigging 1. Tries conceded 55. High score. Do you know what the high score is between South Africa and Wales?
It's got to
Have a guess.
be in 58 point difference.
96-13. I mean, that is a
Oh,
pumping. So that was, I mean, the win percentage is 89. This is going to be the Springboks' 101st game on British soil since 1906. Of those 100 matches, they've won 66 of them, drawn 3 times, lost 31. They've scored 51. They've scored 51 tries in rugby this year, which is the most outside of a Rugby World Cup year since 1997. And Jake White's great team, who went on that record equaling run, was then. Yeah, it's just the greatest team in the world, isn't it?
but don't we play boring rugby? Isn't that what everyone says?
Yeah, I do love that. I mean, we've had the Prince of Wings and Prince of Centers. We had Carl Duplessis. We've had. I'm just not going to get. One of the things I did like. David Walsh writes for the Sunday Times. He wrote this thing for. He watched. He said he watched Chasing the Sun backwards and forwards a couple of times, and I think this very much speaks to what you do with SA Rugby Oak. And he's talking about Russia after they won in 2024, and the wee hours about 4 o'clock in the morning. They all had a couple of drinks taken. They're in the hotel, and Rusty decides he's going to speak to the players for the last time. He said we were all tired, emotionally buggered. Everyone said how great it was. The cup was there, everyone having a drink, and I said, guys, can we go back to South Africa and not fall into the trap? Someone talks cuck about your country and you keep your mouth shut, or you just say, everything is effed up in South Africa. Can you say, no, we can fix it. Let's give this a chance. If you're a farmer, a teacher, just a rugby player, can you take this away from here because people will listen to you? And if you're not an outgoing person, someone can talk like that, just pull the person aside. Stop talking shit about our country, man, because it's the people of South Africa that carried us through the World Cup. And for me, that's what things like your website do. Do you get that sense? And is that what keeps you going as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, make no bones about it. I'm an expat. I left the country 17 years ago. I've never felt more attached to South Africa than I do right now, despite being so far away. I've seen my whole family are down there and all the rest. We spend a lot of time there, but for work reasons and things, I'm stuck on Mud Island. But you're absolutely right. It's that change of mindset. You know what? Things do work in South Africa. Things are pretty good in South Africa. We've got a lot of things to complain about, but so does everyone else. And South Africans tend to forget that. And, you come to a place like, the best thing, when I get mates that come over to Europe and they're like, go to a place like Greece and they're like, shit, this is worse than like the dodgiest parts of, Cape Town, some of these Greek islands with the broken down buildings in it. I'm like, yeah, this is the first world, China. Like things aren't magically different everywhere else. South Africa needs to take just a real pride in what the Springboks are showing that people can do with teamwork, with working together. Rassie says it over and over again. It's not a new idea. Color creeds, whatever. If you come together, if you are keen to make South Africa better, and you want to put in a bit of hard work and graft, we can do that. We can make South Africa better. But don't sleep on South Africa. South Africa is a fantastic place to live. South Africa is a fantastic place to raise a family, to have a business, all the rest of it. So you're right. Oaks must stop kind of bagging on South Africa. My page is all about the joy, all about celebrating, promoting South Africa as well. I get loads of South African, English rugby fans that find my page and ask me for advice about going on holiday and which games they can catch and all that. And now we have obviously rugby and over Christmas with the RC and Champions Cup. And, people are getting attracted to South Africa because of rugby. So that's, it's going to be great as well.
Yeah, I'm going to end up there. We're into half an hour. We are going to have you back on the show on a regular basis, hopefully, when you get time, and maybe another work from home day today. Could you just tell us where people can find you on YouTube and on Instagram, and what your that's your tag, I suppose, your handle.
Absolutely. So Instagram, I suppose, is the biggest page. It's at SA Rugby Oak. So we do lots of kind of reels. We do lots of games on there. Everything for positive promotion of South African rugby. All the latest information as well. Interview with players and the rest of it. And then YouTube is a channel we are starting. We're growing. Me and my best friend George, who you might recognize from the Brandy video if any of you have been on our Instagram. Where I get him to try all the different kinds of brandies. But anyway, go and check out Instagram. You can see the reel there. But the YouTube channel is growing nicely. It's where we do more long form conversations like this. We did have a podcast over the World Cup, and now we're doing kind of week by week during Springbok matches. We do start and field games. We do kind of team predictions, all the rest of it. So that's called the Rugby Oaks on YouTube.
All right, everyone, make sure you catch it at SA Rugby Oaks. Matt, thank you very much for your trouble. I'm going to be speaking to you very soon.
Cheers. Catch up later. Bye.
Omni Sport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCallum.